and welcome to this edition of All Things Marketing with Gillian Rusike. This is the show that seeks to critique, analyze, interrogate, and celebrate marketing excellency and practices in the country. We also profile trendsetters within the industry. I'm your host tonight, and my name is Gillian Rusike, coming to you live from ZTN Studios in Harare, Zimbabwe. On this episode, we are joined in the studio by one marketing guru that I revere so much. She is Gillian Mbayiwa, who is the marketing executive at Old Mutual Group in Zimbabwe. We promise you a packed show. Don't go away. All Things Marketing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to All Things Marketing with Gillian Rusike. As I mentioned before, we took a breather. I'm joined in the studio today by Gillian Mbayiwa, who is the marketing executive at Old Mutual Zimbabwe. Gillian, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Gillian. It's really nice to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to share the studio with you tonight, and I'm hoping that together with the audience we'll learn so much, because you're one of the most revered marketing gurus in the country. You know, being a marketing executive for one of the biggest corporates in the country, I'm sure you feel so big in that seat.
Well, I think, the good thing about, being a marketer is that you're also constantly learning all the time.
Definitely.
So as much as I will share some of my experiences, I'm also looking to learn.
Definitely, Gillian. I'm so happy to host you tonight. So maybe for us to kickstart, just tell us a bit about yourself, particularly your working background in the marketing sector.
Okay, Gillian, I think I'll start by saying that, becoming a marketer was actually by default. What I really studied when I was in school was television production.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, can you imagine that?
So you're so comfortable now because we are doing the thing you studied.
You know what, I'm still very fascinated by it. So when I came back from school, I just wanted to go into television production, but then I realized that, that industry was so limited in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
There weren't so many opportunities. Then the next best thing was going into marketing. And I started by working, for ZTA, actually. That's one of the organizations I worked for, Zimbabwe Tourism Authority then.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I think the experience there just made me so passionate about promoting our country.
Oh, yes.
Back then it was so much fun, a lot of travel, etc. Then from there, I joined the advertising industry. And that was really the beginning of my marketing career.
Journey.
Yes. Then I joined Delta Corporation. And again, I'm always saying that, I was...
To host you tonight. So maybe for us to kickstart, just tell us a bit about yourself, particularly your working background in the marketing sector.
Okay, Gillian, I think I'll start by saying that, becoming a marketer was actually by default. What I really studied when I was in school was television production.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, can you imagine that?
So you're so comfortable now because we are doing the thing you studied.
You know what, I'm still very fascinated by it. So when I came back from school, I just wanted to go into television production, but then I realized that, that industry was so limited in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
There weren't so many opportunities. Then the next best thing was going into marketing. And I started by working, for ZTA, actually. That's one of the organizations I worked for, Zimbabwe Tourism Authority then.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I think the experience there just made me so passionate about promoting our country.
Oh, yes.
Back then it was so much fun, a lot of travel, etc. Then from there, I joined the advertising industry. And that was really the beginning of my marketing career.
Journey.
Yes. Then I joined Delta Corporation. And again, I'm always saying that, I was born and raised sort of in Delta. I stayed there for quite some time. I had such a great experience working with, some of the world's biggest brands in the world, and like Coca-Cola, And then also the beer brands, the big beer brands.
Yes, and I remember some of the adverts that were churned out during that time, you know, the Chibuku adverts and so forth. You guys were doing quite an amazing work.
Yes, I won't take credit for Chibuku. I wasn't really handling that brand, but absolutely, I think as a group, we had some really exciting products and also exciting campaigns. And I did learn quite a lot because you look at Delta, it's a really marketing-focused organization. So
yes,
that strengthened my experience in marketing. I then got so curious about the financial services industry.
Okay.
There's just something that was really, I think, just to put it in quotes, sexy about being
There's something sexy
about being a banker, being in the financial services sector. I used to look for, at the organization I now work for, Old Mutual.
Yes.
And I used to think, would I ever be able to work for an organization like that? The people were all very sleek and they were very knowledgeable and so forth. And I aspired, to work for such an organization. So my career then in financial services was with Standard Chartered Bank.
Oh,
then
okay.
I had a period of 2 years where I worked for UBA PLC in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
Then when I came back, I joined Old Mutual.
Oh, so you moved across the continent to show your marketing prowess. Exciting revelation.
Yes.
There, Lillian is saying that, the profession is quite sexy. That's what appealed to her for her to move from the FMCG sector to the financial sector. I think you should be ambitious, as a marketer or as a career person.
Absolutely. You should be ambitious, you should be curious. And really the sky is the limit as a marketer, because I believe, and I have to say this, that an organization without marketing, I think, is an organization without much of a future. Because I think our role as marketers in an organization has become more and more critical.
Definitely, Lillian. Yeah. Marketing is the engine. It is the core of every organization. But before I get into my second question, Lillian, I want to start by congratulating you for being elevated to the position of the president. Let me quick to point out with a small PA before I'm president of the of the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe. This is a very prestigious position because you are the head of all the professionals, marketing professionals in the country. Tell us what is in store for us as marketing professionals with you at the helm.
First of all, thank you so much, and also thanks for the confidence from the marketing community in Zimbabwe. It is really quite an honor to be taking on this position, and I think that I am looking forward to contributing towards an era that is coming after, quite a difficult period, I think, globally.
Definitely.
We had the COVID pandemic.
Oh, yes.
That really created a lot of issues for us and challenges, but at the same time created some really great opportunities. I remember before COVID, I would talk about, digital transformation in organizations. And as a marketer, you'd be scratching your head, how do I get everybody to buy into digital? Then came COVID, and you no longer had to have such conversations, so we had to leapfrog into the digital era. We are in the digital era right now, and I think digital transformation will even accelerate more following the era after COVID. And that's one of the areas that as marketers in Zimbabwe, we really need to constantly learn on the new trends, new channels, new ways of marketing, that is brought in by digital, and step up in that space. If we don't step up, we die, literally.
There you have it, marketers.
And I just want to add, and then the second, I think, we've got, SDGs that, the country is committed to, and, they are also at a global level. As marketers, what role are we going to play on driving those
Yes.
agendas. And I think our role as marketers is to understand what the country's SDGs are, what the government is driving, and what the KPIs are, and then go back to our corporate world or to our bosses and say, as Old Mutual, for example, where I come from, what are we going to be doing to contribute towards the country goal as well as globally? So those two, I think, Gillian, are areas that I'm really looking forward to driving.
Definitely, Lillian. There's the challenge marketers. She's saying you just need to make sure that you are abreast with changes that are taking place within the environment that you are operating in. Marketers, we are the engine room. We are the drivers of strategy, and we just need to make sure that our business strategies align with the national strategies of SDGs and everything else. Lillian, we have seen a lot of other careers, professions becoming extinct because of events that are taking place within the environment. You talked of COVID. A lot of things happened. Just tell us a bit about the future of marketing. Where do you see marketing from the current into the future?
Okay, so, and you're absolutely right that, there are some careers that have become extinct and because of the change in the environment. I think when I look at marketing
Yes.
and where our strength is, we need to understand the environment, because that environment influences people, the consumers,
Definitely.
who are our customers.
Yes.
So if we don't understand what our customers want, we become extinct. It's simple as that, Gillian. We just need to understand our customers, keep up with their trends, keep up with the change in their attitudes and their behaviors and their needs. For as long as you do that, you remain viable and in business. So, for example, we know that our customers now, I think I saw a stat of about 80%, they acknowledge that what they're now looking for in a product is convenience and ease of accessing that product.
Definitely.
So with that knowledge, if we continue to do things the way that we used to do in the past and not acknowledge the need for us to really shift the way we communicate, the way that we provide, we onboard, the way that we provide services, in a more convenient way to our customers, clearly they'll move on to someone else who come in and they'll do that.
Definitely, Lillian and the audience, the buzzword in marketing these days is convenience, convenience, convenience. Whatever that you are doing, whatever service that you are offering, make sure that it is bringing convenience to the customers, and definitely you will succeed. There you are, colleagues, from the president of the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, Gillian Mbayiwa. Lillian, tell me, one of the marketing gurus once said, marketing is business and business is marketing. Last time I dug Mambura, one of the marketing gurus, and was saying there are only two professions, marketing and innovation. The rest is nothing. What would be your comment on this notion that is coming from Doug, coming from the other marketing gurus as well?
Oh, I absolutely, I agree, and I think I'm privileged to be marketing as well as innovation in Old Mutual Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And basically, what is innovation really? Innovation is just understanding, and I come back to what I said earlier, that we need to understand our customers.
Yes.
And that part about being able to understand our customers, being able to track the changes in the way that they think, in the way that they feel, in the things that they need, is falling under the marketing profession. So we need to be good at it, because we need to feed that information into the business so that the business is able to make very critical decisions based on what is going to sell to the customer.
Yes.
So out of that also, what is innovation really? Innovation is really being able to identify a need there and coming up with a solution for it, I think. Maurice, if I can put it in a very basic way.
Yes.
So that goes hand in hand. How do we actually identify a need, even sometimes before the customer knows that they have that need, and be able to provide solutions for them? That's what is going to make us competitive in the market.
Definitely. The future is innovation for marketers. If you're a marketer, and your mind does not stretch beyond
Exactly.
the current needs,
Yeah.
I tell you, you're doomed to be irrelevant in these economic times. Lillian, tell me, so there's somebody who is watching you right now. Probably they're studying marketing, or they're contemplating or studying marketing, and they're looking at you and say, wow, she's at the helm of marketing for Old Mutual, the biggest organization in the country. What advice would you give to such a person?
Okay, that is always a tricky one. Okay, so the advice I would give to someone who is interested in marketing really is that, I think you said something that is quite critical earlier on, that, you need to be able to stretch beyond what is required today.
Yes.
You need to be looking, I think marketing is all about anticipating, what the customer is going to need before they even say that or know that they need it.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the curious mind, and if you don't develop the skills to be able to understand the environment, because there are some people who are not very curious about what's happening around them.
Yeah.
So you need to be curious what's happening around the environment. You need to be able to interact with the customers. Sometimes, you talk about rolling back your sleeves and really sitting down and talking curiously to a customer and saying and a consumer or just an ordinary person, and understand what they're thinking and what they're needing and how things are working in the communities, like in the, so we don't live in all the communities.
Yes.
So in the other areas of the community, what are the things that matter the most? So that curious, I think, and the need to learn, it's such a learning process, because you're learning every single day. Marketing, what it was when I came into, let's just say something more recent, when I joined Old Mutual.
Yes.
What I consider to be marketing then and what marketing has turned out to be like now,
Yes.
totally different. So you have to be constantly learning.
Yes.
So, and this is why I think I have to commend the Marketers Association for the programs that we have in place, where we are consistently increasing the capabilities of our marketers in the country.
Yes.
And ensuring that they keep up with world trends, and they're able to then implement that in their strategies.
Yes.
You hear of things like metaverse. I always like to talk about that now. How many of our own marketers, know the opportunities that come from that, for example?
Yes.
Right now, it sounds so far-fetched. It sounds like, it's being talked about, somewhere very far in the maybe in the US or in the UK or somewhere
in the
else.
first world.
But because of digital, it's only a matter of time before we start, before another competitor comes up with a product or an initiative that really taps into the opportunities that come with metaverse and such channels.
Yes.
So we need to be curious like that. I'm a very curious person. So whenever something new comes, I just am so curious.
You want to start, you
so
want
you
to
see
jump on it.
the youngsters, my kids and stuff like that, they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, you like things, but I'm so curious about things
Oh, yeah,
like that, the
definitely.
technology and so forth.
Yes.
Because that's really changed, and
Yes.
And
yeah, well, look, there you have it, colleagues. There you have it, viewers. Lillian is saying, for you to be successful, marketer, you need to be able, number one, to anticipate customers' needs and wants before they even realize that they have a need. If you want to be a successful marketer, you need to keep abreast with changes in technology. Technology is the game changer. You should be a people's person. That's what Lillian is saying. And you're watching tonight and you're asking yourself, can I really be a marketer? Possess these three and we are good to go. Thank you so much for watching the first segment. We'll be back immediately after this first segment. Don't go away. Thank you so much.
Buckle up and prepare to be taken on a riveting journey, unlocking the very best of Zimbabwe. Architecture and interior design, art and entertainment, people, products, produce, the great outdoors, hidden gems, and so much more. Experience the good life from the comfort of your home. Only on C'est La Vie, Mondays at 6:30 p.m. on ZTNPRIME, DSTV channel 294.
Welcome back to All Things Marketing with Gillian Rusike, and we are coming to you live from ZTN Studios right here in Harare, Zimbabwe. And today I'm hosting one of the most versatile marketers in the country that the industry has ever seen, Gillian Mbayiwa, who has cut across all the sectors from retail, banking, services, insurance, all the big sectors in the economy. She has managed to steer them through. Welcome back, Gillian. Thank you so much for joining me. We have spoken much about the individual marketers. Now let's talk about the corporates. What advice can you give to the corporate world, especially in Zimbabwe, pertaining to marketing?
Okay, so Gillian, I think that the corporate world in Zimbabwe has really started to embrace the idea of having marketing sitting somewhere up there high, yes, on the boardroom table. And I think that is quite commendable. And to be honest, without just wanting to grab all the credit, for marketers, the reason why we have been very, very successful, I think, in Zim, even through harsh circumstances such as COVID, is because we have very, very great marketers. In Zimbabwe, I think we have such fantastic skills, yes, and I think some of that skill has been exported elsewhere. I think all we need to do now is to, I think, maybe elevate marketing a bit further to ensure that businesses actually make decisions based on the insights yes, that we provide.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because of digital, we are in a position to really pinpoint exactly what we need to do to get the results that we need, and we are able to even track the progress we are making in terms of contribution to different KPIs. Again, through digital, and digital is offering such great opportunities. It takes some investment, yes, from the business for us to be able to achieve that. So I would really urge that we support marketers, that businesses support marketers with the resources to be able, so that they can really increase their capability around digital. And I think, where in the past, and I'm sorry, I might get into trouble with research companies.
Please don't put us in trouble.
With researchers, I think in the past where we needed a lot more assistance with research, we still do. I can't take that away. But a lot now we are able to actually generate those insights by ourselves through technology. I think equally
intelligence and so forth. Okay.
Exactly, and equally with advertising agencies, who support us as marketers quite extensively. I think there is need to really step up also in terms of understanding, also taking time to learn the new trends and what is working now for marketers, so that they can be able to support us better, especially on digital marketing. Yes. I really feel that those are the areas that we need to maybe step up a bit more on. And for a corporate, really, the support is there, Gillian, I think, to a large extent. Yes. But I think we're talking about certain new developments that we just need to get support on. And yeah, I mean, it's all about the customers, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Who owns the customers? It's us marketers. So if we don't get that right, then it's so difficult for us to be able to justify what we do.
Definitely, Lillian. There you have it, viewers. Lillian is saying for all the corporates, it's just challenging corporate decision makers to say that make sure you support marketing in every front, because marketing is the engine room for your business. Marketing is the one that interacts and interfaces with the customers. The insights that the marketer gets from the customers is the one that you use to build your business, to make sure the business grows. So at every other point, make sure that marketing is at the fingertips of your decisions. Let's talk about a different component, Lillian, of marketing. I'm sure you all understand that there's always a talk about nation branding, and even here locally in Zimbabwe, there have been efforts to rebrand our country. I mean, there have been quite a number of efforts coming from different aspects. From your marketing knowledge, what advice would you give probably to the nation, to the decision makers, or even to the marketing fraternity in terms of how far we can stretch ourselves to make sure that brand Zimbabwe becomes the top of the mind when it comes to the international community?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Gillian. I've got so many things that just flash through my mind when we think about our national brand. And I mean, first of all, I think we have one of the most amazing brands in the world. I've traveled a lot.
Yes.
And I've traveled extensively across Africa.
Definitely.
I always come back to Zimbabwe, and before I land, I just look down, and I think it's like almost like heaven. Honestly, it's really beautiful. So the product is perfect. Of course, I think there's some things we need to do to improve on the product, so that it's easier for us to market it. And I think we have, people have always said that one of the biggest assets we have are the people. The people of Zimbabwe, very hospitable, very open and welcoming. I think we need to create that pride, in our brand amongst people. And sometimes it takes an effort to do that, because as even in a corporate, you need to kind of like brand your internal audience as well, the employees. So you do need to run a program to make sure that they're buying into the brand, and that they can be ambassadors for that brand. I think every single Zimbabwean must be an ambassador for the Zimbabwean brand, which is amazing. I think as marketers, I'm going to speak from the perspective of us as marketers. As marketers, I think we need to, Gillian, to maybe think through what we can do to be very coordinated in our own way in supporting the efforts to market our brand. That's where the expertise is, because we are assuming that Marketers Association of Zimbabwe is where all the marketing expertise in the country is. How can we, as marketers, play a role in doing something that we are an expert at for the benefit of the Zimbabwean brand? So I would say that moving forward, if I had my way, Gillian, I think let's look at it and say, all of us marketers, let's come together. What do you think? Where do we start? And I think that we should start from there. As we said, we are the engine of an organization. So let's be an engine as well when it comes to the national brand, and see what we need to do.
Definitely, Lillian. There we have it, marketers. The challenge from our president saying that in Shona we say iwene nitine basa, and she's saying every marketing mind, we've got a role and responsibility to play to make sure that brand Zimbabwe is right at the peak, right at the top. If we don't bring our minds together, our brand, nation brand, will not excel. Thank you so much for that encouragement. And I hope that after this conversation, we'll start having conversations within our corridors as marketers to make sure that brand Zimbabwe, we are working for brand Zimbabwe. Coordinated by Marketers Association, of course. So everyone, you need to make sure that you become part of it. Now let's talk about an interesting concept about entrepreneurs. I know as Old Mutual, you support startups, entrepreneurs so much. Just tell us, there's always a talk that entrepreneurs are marketers by virtue of them being innovators, developing products. Just tell us a bit about your thoughts on that and what Old Mutual is doing in order to support the local entrepreneurs.
Okay, thanks for that question, because I think you've just brought up something that I'm very passionate about, and I think everyone in Old Mutual, my employer, knows that if you talk about entrepreneurship to Lillian, she gets excited. So we've got an innovation hub just down the road from here. It's called 8 to 5 Innovation Hub.
Okay.
We set it up so that we can be able to work with entrepreneurs in the country. We acknowledge that there's a lot of creativity and innovation within our youth. What they really need is someone to come in and capacitate them through different programs to make their businesses succeed, and also through funding. So 8 to 5 Innovation Hub is set up to do that. We run what we call Value Creation Challenge. We just recently launched.
Sorry, Lila, I need to cut you for the sake of our time, because I want you to give us your last words because of time. I can't continue. Right. I think we need to set a different conversation about that, because it's very critical for development of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
But for the sake of our time, maybe what would be your last words to the audience that are watching us and aspiring, say, I want to be a marketer one day?
Okay, I think marketing profession, I think it's a very exciting profession. I think with a great future, and it's very central to the success of any business, any product.
Yes.
And I really want to encourage those who are wanting to be marketers to not hesitate and then go into the profession. I think we have a lot of work to do in marketing. In that we need to be able to share a bit more. I think we are stronger when we come together than when we are trying to figure out things separately. I think we need to be curious and learn and tap into the new technologies that are happening globally. SDGs and when you look at climate issues and so forth, they've become very critical, and moving forward we've become more and more critical as marketers. What is our role going to be? I think we need to really sit down and think about all those things. Big issues, big topics,
Lillian, thank you so much. For those wise words, challenging words, unit of purpose. That's what is coming from the president of the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, to say, as marketers, as a collective body, we can do something only if coordinated by Marketers Association of Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for joining me, Lillian. And that's it for today, All Things Marketing with Gillian Rusike. Remember to join us next week at 1900 hours on ZTNPRIME channel 294 as we critique, analyze and discuss, celebrate marketing excellency in the country. We can also continue the conversations on our social media platforms. Would love to hear your feedback. From me, Gillian Rusike, your host, and the crew behind the scenes, have a good night and be loudly heard. Thank you.